Hey YAMA crew, today I'm going to show you how to make scrolling music in playlong videos. So first off, you're going to want to make sure you have all your files in order. You'll want PDFs of your music, backing tracks if you're using them, metronome cue if you're using it, and most importantly, your recording take. Important note, the video editor we're going to be using, HitFilm, does not support all codecs. It supports H.264 and Google's free codecs. So that means if you're using an iPhone, you're going to need to be recording in compatibility mode. As you can see here, I have two files. This one was recorded without compatibility mode, so I had to transcode it into a format that HitFilm understands. And a note about your PDFs. It's best if you use PDFs that are exported directly from the notation program you used, as they scale to any resolution very well. All right, to start off, we're going to be opening up GIMP, which is a free image editor. We're going to open the music that we want to use. In this case, I'm going to be doing violin 1. Go ahead and open these as images. Each page will be an image. Just makes it a little easier to deal with. And then for resolution, I find 400 dots per inch is more than enough. All right, once you have your images loaded up, we can now start converting these lines of music into separate images. So go ahead and use the rectangle select tool. Grab a line of music you want. Make sure it has all the content you want. And then you'll copy it. And then you'll create it, a new image from the clipboard. Here's our new image. Now we'll want to edit it to get rid of all the stuff from other lines. For example, these downbow markings that found its way in. You can just use the rectangle select tool, and then I hit the delete key to clear that. If you have hanging bar lines down like that for multiple staves, then make sure that you cut them off so that it's above your lowest marking. In this case, this is the fortissimo marking. The reason we want to do that is that we want the best cropping we can get. In this case, I'll also be getting rid of the arranger because we do not need that in our scrolling music. All right, so we've got our edited image, but as you can see, there's all these checkerboards everywhere. And this checkerboard just means that our image has a transparency channel, which we don't need in this case. So to get rid of that, first make sure that your background color is set to white. And then you can go to Image, Flatten Image. And that will turn that transparency into the background color. All right, now that we're done editing the image, we can crop it. If you have a perfectly white background, as in this case, you can use cropped content. However, if you're working with scanned music or something like that, you might not have a perfectly white background, so you can use Zealous Crop. And if that doesn't work, you can just use the rectangle select tool. Select the area you want to crop to, and do Image, Crop to Selection. So now that we have our cropped image, we can export it. we'll want to export as a PNG file, as this particular format doesn't lose image information when we save it. You can copy these settings if you want, but it doesn't really matter. All right, now that it's exported, we can discard the changes and move on to the next line. Again, just select a little bit more than you need, because we can always crop it out. And then create from clipboard. Now we'll edit the things we don't need out. Remember to clip the bar lines so that it's all the way to our lowest marking. In this case, the sforzissimo marking. And to get rid of the transparency channel, we'll do image, flatten image. Image, correct content, export. Remember to do a PNG file. And this is the last line I'm going to be doing for the tutorial today. Cut out all of those unnecessary billing markings from other lines. Remember to clip the bar lines. And flatten the image. You could just do flatten image to begin with to avoid having to see those. And this line looks good. We'll export it. All right, once you have all your lines, you can go ahead and close GIMP. And we're ready to start editing. We'll be using Hit Film. Go ahead and go to New Project. And under these settings, we do want HD, but we want to match the frame rate of our take. So on Windows, you can go to the video, right-click Properties, Details, and then here's the frame rate, 29.97 frames per second. So we'll want to match that. Good. And right away, we'll want to save. All right, now that we're all ready to go, we can import the media we want to use. In this case, I definitely want that metronome cue I made. And then import the lines of music and the take you want to use. And remember, if you want Hit Film to understand your video, you have to use a codec that it can process. If you see audio right here and no video, when you select the video, then that means that Hit Film doesn't have the codec to decode it. And you'll have to convert that video. All right, now we'll want to make a new composite shot. Let's call it main. Make sure that it has the correct settings you want. In duration, just it doesn't really matter, just make sure it's longer than the clip you want to make. All right, to start off with, we'll drag in our take. Looks good. And in this case, in terms of framing, what you want is to be perfectly in center and then have about a fifth of the screen available for putting music on top of. In the case of this video, it's not quite what we need, so we'll just edit around that. I'm going to use the rectangle mask to crop out what I don't want. And I want to be careful when cropping to make sure that I'm getting all of the potential poses we could be getting. Oh, see, like there. He leans back out of frame. Yeah, so I'll just make this a little bit wider. But I also want to make sure I'm cropping as small as I can get, because we want to make sure we're showing the viewer as much information as possible and be able to be zoomed in. All right, now that I've got that, I'm going to go ahead and go to transform. Now I can change the position of this image. And as you can see, I can't make around a fifth of the screen available, so I'll have to scale it down as well. So I've got my scale down here. I can just make that smaller. Position this center of screen. Okay, it's a little too small. I'll scale it up to 80. How about 80? Yeah, that looks about good. In fact, I could even... Yeah, since I know this music has a large vertical range, I'm even gonna make it slightly smaller. Give ourselves enough room to be able to read the music easily. Because you have to take into account, you want people with low bandwidth internet connections to be able to read the music, and also you want people that have smartphones to be able to read the music as well. All right, now what we want is to add a white background. So we're just gonna make a new plane. I'll call it white, and the default settings should be fine, just a white color. And you can drag that into our composite shot, and now we have a beautiful white background. All right, now that we have this all set up, we want to make sure that we have enough dead time at the beginning of the video to make sure that the student has time to get their instrument ready to play. Yeah, so that's just a couple seconds. So I'm just going to give them a little more. And you can use this little slider at the bottom to zoom in on your track, get a little bit more accurate positioning. All right, let's see how that is. Yeah, that should be good. All right, now that we've got our take where we want it, want to make sure that our white plane ends at the same time as that take. Excellent. All right. And you know what? I think I'll go ahead and add the metronome cue while I'm at it. This metronome cue is just 2 measures of metronome to help the student get ready. So I'm just going to put the play marker right when he starts playing. That'll give us a good ballpark. All right, let's see how close that is. Ooh, I think that's pretty good. Okay, I think a little bit early. Yeah, just like, okay. Yeah, I'm a bit of a perfectionist with this. You know what, good enough. All right, we've got our metronome cue. Now it's time to add our music. All right, line 1. Drag that in. Oh, I think that's being covered. I think we need to move this white plane, yep, to the bottom. Okay. Now with this line of music, you want to go to transform. We'll scale it down to the size we want. We'll get that video in for reference. Remember, you want as big as possible. I find that having not too much of a margin works well. So maybe I'll scale it to 75%. And just a note, at this point in the process, if you're having to scale up rather than scale down, then that means that your image isn't a high enough resolution, and you should probably go back to the image editing and see if you can get higher resolution. All right, for this first line, we're going to start just barely off screen. And since I can't drag that far, I'll just use this position slider over here, modify the X coordinate until it's all the way off, just barely. Then I'll keyframe it. This is the toggle keyframe button. And then I'll go to right where he starts playing. Slide it down so that the music is just like a little bit past the middle. And you can see how keyframing works is that you just have one keyframe at the start, one keyframe at the end. It automatically animates in between. It's magic. All right, we'll keep going ahead. So basically we want to get to the end of this line in the recording. And let's see. Cool. Right there. So that's the end of our line. Go ahead and push it a little bit over there, just past the middle. Want to make room for the next line. In fact, I'll put a little bit more. And we'll double check if we did that correctly. Nice. All right, and to save us some extra animating, we're just going to have this line of music disappear as soon as we get to the end of it. So you want to go to the end of, oh, that's quite far, isn't it? Just go to the end of that image in the timeline, drag it all the way to that keyframe. In fact, here's a better way to do it. You can use the next keyframe button to put, come on. Oh, we need to have that selected. All right, we've moved the playback to the keyframe, and that's exactly where we're going to end that clip. So it should disappear now. Let's see if, did I do that correctly? Yes, excellent. All right, now we're ready for the next line. Just drag that in above the white plane, apparently. And again, I'm going to scale it down. $75 seems to be the magic number for this one. But you know what? I think that's too much of a margin, so we'll make it bigger, just so that it's as readable as we can get. You know what? Even bigger, why not? 85. Yeah, that should be good. All right, and then what we want to do, we want to get to the point in the animation where that line is just coming into view. About right there. And then we're going to move. Well, first we're going to enable the keyframe. And we're going to make sure that that is approximately where we want it, right there. And then go back over here, go to the end of that, and select the position again. Oh no, I keyframed the scale. I didn't want to do that. Okay. Delete that. Now add the keyframe for position. Okay, now we can go over here, next keyframe, go back down, and in fact, how about just before? There we go. Wrong one. Move that over. Yeah, this is a little more forward than I would like, but it'll be fine. All right, our keyframe's done there. All right, now we want to go into the video to the end of that line. Yep, right there. Well, it doesn't want to play anymore. Yeah, it's a little bit better if you go just a little bit past the end of the line. And since we made that observation that it was a little far forward last time, we'll put it a little bit further over here this time. Excellent, and remember to drag the end of that clip to the keyframe. Oh, too far. There we go. And let's see how that looks. Excellent. Yes, that'll work great. All right. Remember that we're trying to, we want the next line to appear right as this one is going off screen. So add our third line. And it's nice and big again. We'll scale it down. Let's try 85% again. Is that gonna be okay? No, too big this time. Okay, so we'll do 80. A little too big again. 75 it is. I just barely, well, okay, maybe 73. I really want it to be as big as it possibly can be. And that's without margin. So I'll put it 70. Cool. All right, make sure that's off screen. All right, let's add that keyframe. Wait, then we want to go over here. And we'll start. No. Just a tiny bit before. And we'll go back to our position over here. Drag it on over. Yeah, we'll do it like that. Why not? Oh, there was a measure for us. Well, it doesn't matter. All right, that's where we want to end that clip. And how about over there? Yeah. And remember to drag the clip so that it ends right there. Whee. Okay, let's see if that animated properly. Excellent. All right, so we ran out of music, so that's as far as we're going to go today. But once we're all done, what you can do is right-click up here. We want to select to fit the contents of our clip because we're about to render now. All right, we're going to export. Yep, that's what we want. Save, and it's going to start exporting. And then that's all. You've got your finished video. All right. Thank you for bearing with me. Hope this is helpful. Have a good day.